looks like he's back in his natural habitat. Hanok Young in Modain. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mike. Doing better. It's interesting. I generally for jet lag when I come home, never when I go to the States.
Yeah,
Um, and what happens, of course, jet lag is your body's way of saying you're in one time zone and I want to be in the other.
yeah,
So you tend to be tired and sleepy in the old time zone instead of the new time zone. Now, after all these 20 something trips to America in 10 years, all of a sudden my body has a whole new approach. And it's, I'm not going with that time zone and I'm not going with the other time zone either. So I've been up like the weird, it's just, it's weird. Now, on the other hand, you know, I've always been fascinated when I go to congregations and they do praise reports. That's thing I don't hear in our culture, not in a synagogue setting. People don't like stop what they're doing and they stand.
yeah.
Okay, but I have a personal praise report,
Okay.
so I'm going to do it.
We are making a little bit of an attempt at affecting you then.
Well, I don't know, but it's certainly now there is an understanding that there is a sacredness, a holiness, specialness to simply being in the land of Israel.
Yes.
I mean, that's my whole beef with certain groups that claim to be Torah observers and somehow don't get that. But okay, everyone saw for almost 7 weeks how I was limping and my leg was swollen and my knee was twisted and my ankle was well, I was in Israel for 2 days and my knee stopped aching. By day 3 in Israel, the swelling on my ankle was gone. Now, I'm still limping a bit. I have to rehab it, but that's about as near miraculous. Well, no, I've actually had a couple of miracles and good things health wise. So, but it really, Bo Hashem. Okay,
Good,
a lot
good,
of
good.
things to
Yeah,
catch up on here today.
yeah.
Okay, number one, tomorrow, Thursday, the 8th of September, is exactly 14 years since I had the bracha, the blessing and the privilege of becoming an Israeli.
Ah, cool, cool.
So it's my anniversary. Thank you. So here, our audience actually gets to hear me say a bracha fully. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Thanking Hashem for bringing me. It was a lot easier when I just sort of saying it, bringing me here to this day at this time
Yeah.
and in good health, even if some of the joints need replacing. We're not going to that. So it really and what's interesting is, you and I were talking before about one of the hotels that we're dealing with, and the person that I went to see today, he was a little late to meet up with me, and he apologized, and I gave him one of my new lines in Hebrew. One of my new one-liners is, "It's okay. I'm an Israeli. I'm an Israeli man. I have lots of patience," which everyone knows Israelis are known for having no patience.
Yeah,
So that's a little
true.
bit of funny for the day. On a much more somber note, the last few days are the anniversary of the Munich massacre,
Yeah.
1972. 11 of our athletes, may Hashem and our defense forces continue to avenge their blood, were slaughtered in Munich, Germany. As those might remember, the games continued to go on. But then again, blood has been considered by the world to be cheap, especially in Munich, Germany.
Yeah.
the Black September faction of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, that's the very same group that 21 years after that, in 1993, we concluded the Oslo Accords.
Mm.
So that's kind of very humbling to realize.
Yeah.
Other news, jumping, and I keep looking to the side because I always get so caught up in things that we get off, our recording is finished, and I've got 11 things that I swore to myself that no matter what happened, I would mention. America has an ambassador to Israel, Jack Lew. I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast. I was a little concerned that this was going to happen. Tom Nides, the previous ambassador, left in July. I don't think like anyone paid attention to it. Lew, everyone points to, well, he's an Orthodox Jew. I'm more concerned that he was Secretary of the Treasury and Obama's chief of staff and the architect of the financial reimbursement and enticement to Iran that fueled worldwide terror against us, Israelis and Jews. He's good. So when people say he's pro-Israel, understand something. Joe Biden and Barack Obama are pro-Israel.
True.
They are. But their vision of Israel and what Israel should be and what Israel should do is totally different. So it's not that they're anti-Israel. They're not anti-Semitic. And even when people are anti-Semitic, they can do good things. For people are saying, what did you just say? Think of Richard Milhous Nixon. He's the guy running around telling Henry Kissinger the Jews are out to get him. Meanwhile, to counter the Soviets in 1973, he sent military equipment to Israel in a critical resupply. So I'm very concerned about Jack Lew. I'm very concerned with all the backdoor deals going on with the Saudis, or as our listeners may be more familiar with, same group of people, same ones in that country there. By the way, that's where Arabs originally came from. Saudi Arabia. Arabs come from Arabia, and as I pointed out in my recent presentation, and Jews come from Judea. What a concept. It's like, well, who came first? Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yes, let's skip for a minute to something really exciting. This week's Parsha, the Torah portion, Nitzavim. This was my Bar Mitzvah Parsha. Now, it's interesting because, as I think I mentioned it on a broadcast once before, and someone told me this is one of the most fascinating things about my life, which after I heard that, I was like, really? There's nothing else to compare? My Hebrew birth date is the 4th of Av. Remember, we're in Elul now. I was actually supposed to be born, this is so great, July 12th, back in the day when I was born, was actually not supposed to be my birthday. I was supposed to be born on what was the 9th of Av.
Okay.
which I always thought would be a little weird. But anyway, it didn't happen. I was born a few days early. I was born on the 4th of Av. Totally different Parsha. However, my parents, who weren't religious, wanted me to have my big bar mitzvah, which, of course, like Jews of our type at the time, was more bar than mitzvah. They wanted to have it where my friends could, the handful of people from school that didn't disassociate with me because I'm a Jew. Anyway, make a long story short, they postponed it to right before Rosh Hashanah, to September, after Labor Day. And that gave me Parshat Nitzavim. And like people of my era in a non-observant home, I actually was able to memorize the Haftarah, the prophetic portion associated with my Parsha, with the trup. I never learned the, what letters caused you to go higher and lower. I never got that.
Yeah.
Never. Okay. Something was weird. I hit screen. Sorry about that. I
Yeah.
have no idea what that means.
Our internet
Anyway.
is not the best today, but it's doing okay.
Okay. So I only in the last number of years, just out of curiosity, looked up and found out that that it was the 9th of Av that I was supposed to be born, which has like weird implications.
Yeah.
Not for today. But Parshat Nitzavim is the end of chapter 61 of Isaiah, all of chapter 60 of Isaiah, and the beginning of chapter 63. That's all the really good stuff. For Jerusalem's sake, I shall not be quiet. Al chomotayich Yerushalayim ifkarati shamrim. On your walls, O Jerusalem, I will place watch. I mean, this is brimstone stuff. And somehow, coincidentally, it was given to me. And I have to tell you, out of all the haftarot, out of all the prophetic portions associated with each Torah portion, if I could have picked just one for myself, that would have been it. So I think that's like hyper cool. What is not hyper cool is the weather in Israel. It is hot. It is not nearly as hot as the Republic of Texas was. But I was in Jerusalem today. That was basically, and of course, speaking in Texas, I was going from an air-conditioned home to an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned venue to an air-conditioned restaurant to an air-conditioned home. In Jerusalem, I tried to arrange the same accommodations for myself, and it didn't work. I got on the light rail; it had moderate air conditioning, and then I walked, and no one was seeing me. It's kind of interesting.
It's amazing. Yeah. Hey, let me go back to something. Did you, because it cut out a little bit, did you say that Isaiah 63 is part of your Haftorah portion?
If I'm not mistaken, it's the very beginning of it.
Okay, because at the end of 63 is what I call the foreigner's prayer, which is look down from heaven and see from your holy glorious dwelling where your zeal and your mighty deeds, and it goes on from there. So that those are verses that have always been very striking to me.
And again, traveling with the folks I've been traveling with since 1994 has enabled me to understand that what I thought of the meaning of the word coincidence, it's not necessarily correct.
Yeah. Well, I like what one person said, that a coincidence is when God chooses to remain anonymous.
Yeah, it's like when people say it's that little whisper, that little kind of tickle that you had in your head, that normally when you walk down this road, you always go to the right side of the street. But for whatever reason today, you stayed on the left side, and that's when you ran into whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating.
Hey, I heard that they found some swords down at Engedi.
Well, it's really it's an amazing find. Just announced that swords, Roman swords, which evidently had been captured by Jewish freedom fighters and stored, recently recovered, which is again a reminder that stuff is found all the time. Still, today. And just the other day, a boy in one of the national parks found, a ring or a coin, or I mean, I didn't even get a chance. There's so much going on all the time that I haven't even had a chance yet to read all these articles. I keep saving each one of these. So my save pile, I'm kind of swimming upstream.
Yeah.
Doesn't always.
Yeah, I know that. Well, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been there at Engedi and just, you stand there and look at those caves and think, what is actually in there?
And as I always share with people, because of rain and rock slides and
Yeah.
flash flood over the course of every winter, caves open and close 2 to 4 times every single winter.
Yeah.
So where you look saying, well, that's just a rock face, that was a cave not long ago.
Yeah. I know
Anyway,
it's overwhelming sometimes to try to, consider what is in those areas. It's like, when they decide to put up a parking lot outside the old city and found the city of David.
oops,
Where else in the
oops,
world do you do that? Where else in the world but tomorrow can you, go for, wander out? Can a guy that's had a little bit too much to drink wander out in the desert and find a Roman aqueduct? Where does that happen?
aqueduct. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's again, this is literally the land of miracles.
yeah,
And it's interesting, among the kind of feedback post speaking tour, someone said, I feel bad for your feelings when you come across people or congregations that aren't as interested in Israel as you would like them to be. And I said, no, I don't care if they come to it or not. I really don't. I mean, it's like people think it's like my livelihood depends on it. We've had a tour, except for COVID, every year once and one year twice
yeah,
since 2014.
yeah,
We always have our people. People, I don't go to America to recruit people for the Connect to Israel tour. People should want to come to Israel for what
yeah,
it does for them, not for me. I don't need them.
yeah.
I mean, no offense, y'all. I don't need you.
And I'm in the middle of working on that tour right now, dealing with all the things that we do behind the scenes. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, I told them what the price of the tour is. They said, how do you do that? Because we do not skimp on the accommodations and all of those things, but yet our tour is $1,500 below what most of them are, and it's just because we do a lot of the work ourselves. You were in Jerusalem today working on that, and I've got to make some calls, and we've got to get the all those things together. But it's this allows people that wouldn't be able to go.
And that's what it's supposed to be
Yeah,
about, in my humble opinion.
yeah, it is. It
And
is.
you know, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, our internet is kind of in and out today, so maybe it's got jet lag. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. So, well,
This time we don't know.
enjoy the anniversary tomorrow. Um, go out and find your favorite falafel shop, which I know how much you love falafels.
It's and
Maybe
it's so
not.
funny. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah. But that's we'll save that story for another time.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe you can
All
have a
right,
Gledo on me, and I'll pay you when I get there.
fair enough.
All right.
Take
Take
care,
care, man.
guys.
See
Talk
you next
soon.
week.
Bye bye.